Good evening. Welcome to Laughing Monkey Music Show too on Russ Dwarf. How are you? From
I'm good.
the the Killer Dwarfs.
I'm good. I'm up in the Great White North here. Haven't had much of a summer. We haven't had the climate crisis here. It's been kind of like fall all summer.
It's been kind of weird here. I'm in New England, so like we're looking at some hot week like next week. So I'm gonna take a few days off just so I can actually swim my pool for more than a couple days this summer.
Yeah,
It's been a weird
same
summer.
here. Same here. It's supposed to get really hot starting tomorrow. So,
Yeah,
but
kind of
yeah,
weird.
New England, how lovely. That's beautiful in the fall.
It is. We have all the seasons, so this way is just enough of one season. I get sick of it, and I want the next.
Yeah, we
And
have two seasons,
oh yeah.
winter and construction.
I think they're like winter and cold. That's great.
Not
So
looking forward to it.
no, I couldn't imagine. That's if I was you, that's when I'd be touring everywhere else, away from it.
That's always the plan, right? To
Y-
we don't tour in Canada in the winter time anymore, or we try not to. It depends. For the last 10 years, I have a really good friend that I've known for like 45 years, and he does a charity gig in Whitehorse up in the Yukon. So we usually go. I've been there for the last 10 years in a row, but this year we're not going up. But that's usually in November, and that's north.
But besides specified gigs, I've heard from other artists, like and mostly even like small artists, that they have a hard time doing anything in Canada because of how far apart and like just the logistics of doing anything
Yeah,
isn't
well,
financially feasible.
you can do the country in less than 2 weeks, right? It's a huge, there's only like I don't know 40 million of us, but the drives are long, and it's a big, like in the early days, when we were doing 200, 250 shows a year, we'd be driving in vans and
Yeah,
five ton truck through all the bad weather and everything. But at this age, it's just not financially feasible. And when we do play Canada, we're doing a few shows here for the 40th anniversary, but we usually do casinos and stuff like that
that's a
out
good
west
gig.
festival. So they're the best gigs. I'm in bed by 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
I'm happy. I'm a happy camper. And if they have McDonald's in the casino, I'm ahead of the game.
it really is a small thing. I've been seeing shows lately near the casino near me, and I love it.
They're
It's
great.
great.
They're
Sounds great, and
great.
I think it's great for bands because they get you guys get taken care of, nice rooms.
Yep.
It's just the sound's great. You just come
Yep. Yep.
in, you fly out.
Yep, the production's always stellar, and they know what they're doing, and I have no complaints. I love that.
Which is
You
literally what it should have been from the very beginning for all rock bands. Like when you think you want to be a rock band, you want to play out, you should be entering a gig. That should be the reward is having a good gig. Like as
yes,
much struggling as you do, you still end up going to a club or whatever, and you're still having sound issues. You still
yeah.
once you get there, you still have issues. Like that should be taken care of. That should be the winning point.
Some things never change.
No.
Always expect the unexpected. At this point for us, we were having so much fun playing. Like we've been around a long time, and the band, this unit that's been together for 10 years is an awesome bunch of guys, and we get along great. And it's just, the people that are coming, they already know who we are. There's no pressure of, oh my God, we're trying to make it in show business.
No, but I think at this point it's just putting on a good show and sounding your best.
Have you
And
seen
you,
us? Have you seen?
I've never seen you live. I've seen you, especially some of your recent stuff on YouTube, which is pretty freaking good. You sound great. Like
Thank you.
that's one of the, you're welcome. That's one of my things I'm really big on noticing. Like sometimes your voice doesn't, no matter what you do, doesn't go on, but your voice is just so strong. It,
It's all the
it,
yelling. I grew up in a Scottish family of yelling.
but you have a very melodic voice, and I think one of the phrases I hear is that's overrated is hearing the phrase that a band is underrated or someone's underrated.
Hmm.
But I think when it comes to you guys, I don't think you guys got enough press, and fair enough because listening to your music, and I'm pretty critical, like listening to your music side by side with other bands, like you're just tongue in cheek just enough, but the melodies were good. The guitar, just some fantastic guitar work, very intricate, but it goes with the melody. I mean, it's up there with everybody else. The production was the same as all the other big bands. It's just I don't know because
I'll tell it.
Canadian time. I don't know.
I know. Well, uh, you know, I'll overanalyze the shit out
No,
of
no, no. But I mean, I was
topic.
looking at
I'm
it.
I'm just
It's
saying, like, I agree with you completely, but it's, there's two words in show business, right? Show business.
yeah.
So it's a lot of politics are involved, and we can't go through life thinking, oh,
No, they're
we'll,
still crying. You're
we'll,
still doing this for a
we'll
living.
be, yeah, we're
You know.
still doing it and everything, and the people that understand the band appreciate it. We always had a sense of humor, and that was from the MTV stuff and the
Right.
video crap and everything. But we took the music seriously. Obviously, like if you hear the records, it's not like we're not singing
No,
about
I mean, there's some good music and good
drugs.
pop stuff too. You could have crossed over. Is what I'm saying. It wasn't just
It's all
you weren't a
politics, man.
copy of a copy of a band. You were actually standalone rock guitar with some great pop music.
I
You
agree.
know,
I agree with that.
and the lyrics held strong. And it's just you're right. It's the politics, and then like who's the LA bands and this and this, and who's a copy, and then it's all like timing. But I always say, I mean, you're doing music still, and I can't complain about my life. If I'm not in like a bird cage, I have a canary. I'm going into a coal mine to make sure that canary lives. It's a
Yeah.
good day, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, no, it's music is like it's the elixir of life. Like
yeah.
you can't imagine not having it. You know what I mean? It's inconceivable in my world.
Well,
You know
mine
what
too. I
I
don't
mean?
know people that do. I actually, I'm like, if somebody says I don't listen to music, I'm like, you're a monster. Like, I literally
Yeah,
think you're a serial killer if you can't listen to music. Like,
could never understand that. Like, and you can't. It's everywhere,
what do you
anyways.
listen to in your car? Talk radio. All right, that's it. You're out of my life. Like, I can't.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of talk radio,
No,
but
no. But if you don't listen to music,
at,
and that's your thing. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
at home I listen to all sorts of different stuff, and I love music. Like I don't care if it's good. If it's good, do it again.
Do you think coming back the second time, you guys getting together is even better? You guys got back together. It's been a little bit now, but I mean, does it feel like it was even that much better? Like you
Well,
were different,
we had a couple of pauses. So we paused in
right?
'95, and then we came back in 2001, and I think we were just a little ahead of that. I hate to say the heavy metal glam shit, the '80s or whatever. So we came back for 5 years, and then we took another break, and then we came back in 2013 with this lineup, and it's
Just
been
what I'm talking about. Yeah.
yeah, the last 10 years have been awesome, been really good. We've been having a great time, and I can't complain. I love it. We're
Just
so
from watching
happy.
you, online and seeing how good you sound live and smiling, and it just seems like you're fun. I mean, as you get older, you get the wisdom of just enjoying what you're doing. It just feels like it. You got you recently been signed, you know, to Dave Elson's label, right? You still
Yeah,
there?
and that took a giant shit. So
Oh, did
you
it? Yeah.
just because of Dave's situation and whatever happened
Uh,
with him, I don't want to
yeah.
get into that.
No,
Couple
I'm not
of
that
years,
show. I'm not that
whatever
show.
that was a short-lived thing. We put out one record, a live album with him, and he's a great guy and everything.
It's
This
a great
world's
live album. I didn't realize it ended, so but I like that album though. The live album's
Thank
good.
you. I think it's a good representation of what we are like right now. We could probably do you could do a live album every goddamn year for Christ's sakes, right?
You
But
could.
we have new tunes and stuff. We're in the process of recording stuff right now, and the studio that we've worked at for like, oh god, 35 years. It's called Power Lines, run by one of my best friends. Called His name is Fred Duvall. He's an engineer producer who he did all my solo stuff,
Yeah.
and he also did start at one, which originally was just like a demo, but it ended up being an album because our manager thought it was great, and there were so many bootlegs out there of it, so we just put it out anyways. But the studio's being rebuilt right now. He's gone from complete digital. Now he's gone back to half analog, half digital. He
No, it
just got
really.
so he's
Was it
rebuilding the place, and but we have a bunch of tunes, and I have my solo band. So there's lots of new music, and we're excited about putting some stuff out for sure.
do you have a label? You're gonna do it yourself this time?
We'll just do it. We'll just keep it to ourselves at this point. Like it's almost pointless to have a middleman at this.
I think you make what I've learned from all my interviews with people lately. The model is smaller,
Mhm.
but you get your audience. You can make more money, and
Yeah,
everybody's
well,
making more money doing it on themselves.
Well, and you can keep you have control over it,
Yeah.
which is, the best way to go and stuff. Like I have a publishing deal and everything, so Vince takes care of a lot of stuff for me. But yeah, that's the way to go. We're a mom and pop operation, and we do just fine. We're happy.
Which is the way to go. How do you divide up doing like solo stuff and band stuff if you're writing songs? Do you feel there's a difference in your as you write stuff? Like,
For my stuff, I pretty much write it all. Some of it is collaborated with Bobby Lee Furnett, who's on guitar. There's a couple of tunes that him and I have written
mhm.
together. Most of this new stuff is I've written, but everyone contributes their part in it. We haven't picked the tune, so we could fight over that, but it's a democratic dictatorship.
Well, I'm saying like if you sit down and you start writing a song, you're like, oh, this could be a song to bring to the Dwarfs, or this could be a
Yeah, well,
solo
that
song.
there
Like
is
that's
that.
a
There
weird
is that
line.
too. There is
You know
that
what I
too.
mean? That's what I meant.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know. We've got a lot of stuff to pick from and stuff. Like when Jerry and I get together, we seem to just we click really well and we pump stuff out. So we've got more than enough for like two or three albums. It's just a matter of picking which ones you want to do or whatever. You know what I mean? But we've got there is we have been playing a song called "Weight of the World" live. It's we've done some we have recorded it a bit, but since we've been playing it live for like the last year, we're gonna go in and redo the whole thing. But you might have heard that.
I think I
Uh,
have in the live thing. And I
you
think what's
haven't?
really no that one I may not have heard. I think was hard because with bands now with like 'cause I can hear it and see it, and that's always a fun thing because if you're not somewhere else, and I've recorded a band with, I'll do an interview and I'll record part of the show, because if you're in another country and the band never tours there, it's the only chance a fan's going to get to see it. So
Yeah.
there's a great appreciation for it. It's not stealing from them in a way like and I always make sure it sounds good too. Not one of those bad ones that looks like
No, I know. Hey,
some,
I'm
some,
right up
some,
front. Listen
yes, some
to
terrorist camp. It's just the bass or something. No, I mean, it's just, but to that point, the only thing I think it really steals now from the artist is going out and working a song live because out on the road for like a year, like you said, with that one song is a perfect example. You're like, I
yeah,
think I want to change this part here. I want to change. So you do an album, you record it for 3 months or whatever you do. You're
yeah,
woodshedding it, and you go on
yeah.
the road and you come back, you're like, it's kind of a different song now, you know.
It
And
evolves. It evolves. It evolves.
you can't do that nowadays live because otherwise it'd be 35 versions of it online. So you couldn't do a
No,
whole album
there
like
is.
that because it would just be too much.
Yeah, and people don't want to hear like brand new songs through the whole for the set. They want to hear this, the stuff they're familiar with. But we like
That's
to,
a weird call though, isn't it? Like, do you ever have a struggle? Like, do you have people that want to hear more? Like, I like to hear more new stuff. I've heard a lot of the old stuff. I can listen to it. I'm excited to see a band do it. I know I'm in the minority. I totally
yeah,
know that.
I think I've been to some shows of people that I know that there's like, okay, we're gonna play the whole new album, and it's like everybody's like, really?
Well, that could be a whole new album is a little too much. But I mean, if you put like do an album, you want to do like 5 songs, and it's a good album.
We'll do
I'm
we
okay with that.
we do a couple. Depending on how we feel and stuff, we bounce all over the place with the set and everything.
Yeah.
I'm usually the one going, I don't want to do that song.
Well, that's the thing. I think if a band loves, some people like will do the same song forever and the same set and they love it, and that's awesome. It's your songs.
Yeah,
But I can appreciate an artist going. I don't even know the same way home sometimes because I get bored just driving like this. So like to me,
yeah,
I would go crazy even though it's a successful song.
yeah,
You got to do something different, and
yeah.
and
You're right.
that's the danger
You're
of
right. Daryl usually does the set list and everything. I'm usually the one that's complaining the most. But then uh, we got a lot to pick from. You know what I mean?
well,
There's a
it's
lot.
hard. There's no wrong answer, but it's funny. I just like to ask the question because it's funny to get it out there because I mean there'll be artists that'll be like in one breath they're like I want to put new music out there because of that, but then when I go see so and so, if I go see Cheap Trick or somebody, I don't want to hear
Mm,
new music. I just want to hear the old stuff. Like
mhm.
so, but at the same time, you're putting a band that you like. They're in a position because I'm sure Cheap Trick has. They're always having new albums. You know what I mean?
The
They,
Cheap
they
Trick,
won't
they're
or any
like
band,
one of my
right?
favorite bands of all
They're
time.
one of the best songwriting bands ever.
Yeah, and the world's greatest opening act. Like, they're incredible. They're definitely. I can't say enough about they. I love them to death. But then the unique thing about them, they do a different set every night. It's insane. Like I love it. It's and I know all the songs because I'm like a fanatic.
But well, that's the thing though. Like if you're a casual fan
Yeah.
and they
Well,
start mixing cassettes,
you
you're gonna
go
be
to,
lost.
well, I've been to shows like I've seen them a shitload of times, but you go to like Canadian audiences are really subdued. I saw them in Canada at a casino one time and with a good friend of mine. And the whole place is like crickets the whole night. And then as soon as they do, I want you to want me, everybody jumps up. But
Oh,
meanwhile, they've done this blazing, like
set.
the fucking unbelievable. Robin's voice is just like off the fucking hook. It's like I don't know, but it depends on your fanaticism of a band and everything. But
Yeah.
one of my all-time favorites. I can't say enough good things about them. They could play a million new songs. I'd be like, yes, do it.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. You can listen to the old stuff. There's enough albums out there and greatest hits things and live things out there of a lot of your favorite bands.
Oh
So
yeah,
you can see that. So if you're leaving the house, go out and hear them doing music. But then the problem is a lot of people don't listen to the artist's new albums either, and that's the
no,
problem
right,
that ties
yeah,
into you doing a new album. It's about the artist doing it because
you love it.
one of the things, well, it's because most people stop listening to music like between into high school
Yeah,
and college or starting work or whatever it is, not just gonna be college.
yeah,
That's your emotional music years. And
yeah.
now
I
coming
get it.
back, everyone's coming back now with at this age, they're a little more successful. The kids are older, blah blah blah. They have a little extra money now. The rock's got a little more chance to play out now, you know.
Mhm.
But they're not interested in the new music that you guys played the past 20 years between
No,
when they
I
were
get
off
it.
living a life.
Yeah, they have their favorite album or whatever. You know what I mean? It's uh, just come and enjoy the show. You know what I mean? It's like we're gonna play what we're gonna play.
I think it's hard. I couldn't imagine having to do like the best thing I did when I was 20 years old. Like, you know what I mean? Like 20, like when I was at the age, being like 50, being like,
Yeah,
you have to like relive it again. I'm like, well, I mean, I've done a lot of other stuff too.
yeah, some stuff, but I don't like it's like I'm 63 years old and Daryl and I got the band together when he was 19 and I was 20 and I don't feel like embarrassed to sing any of those
Well, your
songs.
songs, they hold true. That's the point of back. Like, you guys wrote some good songs. They're just good songs. And they weren't like cheesy where you're like, oh, you know what I mean? I still listen to
Yeah,
it, in the car. It's good
yeah,
rock
we don't.
music.
I don't. I know we were put in that genre, the hair metal thing, but I don't know. We've always been the odd man out for some reason, but I don't mind it. Like I'm totally happy where we are, and you know, we're lucky. We're very lucky. We worked our asses off, but we're super lucky to be able to still do this. It's just fucking incredible. You know what I mean?
Well, you guys are all
Totally.
talented though too. I mean, I think it takes a few things. It takes talent, hard work, and some luck.
And no, and to lose your fucking mind. It's
Well, be able
like
to push through everything else
you
is
know,
hard.
yeah, we're lucky we get to do what we love for a living. Like holy crap, you know what I mean? Like if I meet people that I've known, all my life, they haven't done what they
Well,
really wanted to do. So we're very grateful, like super grateful to
what
to
is the future now as far as like 'cause I know like when the plague came and closed down the world for a couple of years,
Christ.
literally I don't know about you, but I've like lost track of the years. Like I was saying something
Yeah,
the other day. I thought it was like 2 years, and my wife's like, no, it was like 4 years ago. I'm like,
no,
what?
you're
Like
right. Yeah,
I
it's like
literally can't gauge it,
yeah,
but I feel like musicians were starting, rock was picking up, and
yeah,
artists of your ilk were getting the really good gigs finally. It was good. It was like a long victory lap where the bands were getting something really good. They're
yeah,
enjoying it, and then we had this big situation where nobody did anything,
yeah.
and now coming out,
Well,
not
now
only is
it's
it competitive, it's
restarting. It's
it's
like
restarting, but then there's like the gas costs, the travel costs of Europe
oh
going
yeah,
across
everything's
Brexit, and then shortage of buses. You get a van, you get shortage of vans. The buses are like $1,500 or 2,000 instead of a day instead of like 900 a day. Like the prices almost doubled. So it's the
well,
venues
you
are going up to you.
just have to pick and choose. That's the thing, right? Because it has to be, you know, it's all well and good to go out and play, but you can't play for $500. And us being from Canada, we work mostly in the States, and so there's like paperwork that costs like $10,000, and you know what I mean. It has to all work out in the end like that. But you're right. I think it's still just restarting still. Like, you know what I mean? You know, next year's going to be better than this year. This year was okay, but not as much as we would like. But you know, people are all vying to get gigs and stuff. So we're just waiting for everybody to die off. So we're the last ones. So we'll have all the gigs.
I literally think though, I mean, looking at it, you know, because you look at how music goes in cycles and how it's picking up in this thing. I think rock has this genre of rock of just being able to do like all different types of rock music probably has a good 5 to 10 years left before it
Hmm.
really starts to drop off for just
Yeah.
all levels. I mean, even because even like Metallica's, the big bands, or any band, club bands, at a certain point, you know, the audience because the age of the audience buying into it, unless there's a new resurgence, you know,
Yeah.
this
Well,
is.
I think a lot of kids are, you know, loving this stuff. The older rock and roll, you know,
I
definitely
mean, there are
Queen.
bands, the Struts, Dirty Honey, you know, Greta Van Fleet, those carry the
Yeah.
Zeppelin name. I mean, there are bands still doing rock, but will they
No, for
carry
sure.
on?
And they're young bands, and it's great. It's like bring it on. The more rock, the merrier. I think that they enjoy the tunes from the 70s and 60s, and so it's I don't think you know it's never going to die.
No, but I think I'm saying this resurgence though is really like it goes in cycles. Like
Yeah,
records are
you're
back
right.
now. You know,
Yep,
it's
you're right.
you're buying more records than CDs now, which is crazy to
Hmm.
think about.
Yep, that is crazy.
Last
Get
year it was
get the
official. It's like
ball out.
63% more albums were sold over, you know,
It's
everything else.
awesome. It's awesome. I love to hear that.
I got a huge record collection, so to me, it's the best.
Good. I've got the iTunes collection. 70 bazillion songs at your
Yeah,
fingers.
of course I have that when I'm at work, but I mean at home is vinyl if I can
No,
listen
I
to it
get
because
it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
The
I
problem,
have a shitload
yeah,
of old vinyl.
you know, the problem with that with digital, and it makes me crazy, is you can't get there'll be a couple bands with the same name, similar names, and then
Yep.
iTunes or anyone else will shuffle them all together. So you
Hmm.
can't keep your library straight, and then you can't look at the dates either. And sometimes the songs aren't right. The artists don't get credit. This is probably more like music nerd stuff. Like
Yeah.
so, if you look at it, like you know, those they didn't write the band, or that it's not an album of theirs. It
Yeah.
just doesn't have the band, or they're doing Atmos now and they're having the albums like redone an Atmos mixed, but it's not really an Atmos mix, and it's not the producer that did it, so the album doesn't sound right. You
Yeah.
hear it? You heard any of
I
those?
don't
Yeah.
understand that. Like, why not just leave it? I hate that. I'm
No, I agree, but it's not
not
even
a
true
big fan
Atmos
of
though.
like
It's not true.
let's remix this classic album. Why?
Well, first off, it's not even remixed right because and then the producers aren't getting credit, or it was looking like they did a bad mix of the album because
Yeah.
people don't get Atmos, so it's like they're like, yeah, it looks like I just did a bad mix. And I've talked to producers like, you know, big albums, and like it sounds horrible. It's
Yeah.
not true Atmos. So if you're
Yeah.
going to record Atmos, do it on purpose with
Hmm.
a new album because
Yes, from the
you
get
if
go.
you and if you write with it, it can be a fantastic technology. And people don't know what Atmos is. It's basically it's the best surround sound you can do with music. You can feel like it's everywhere around you generically, depending
Yeah.
how everything's coming at you. You know, people aren't aware. That's a quick version of it, but you got to do it right. Otherwise, it just sounds like
Yeah. If you're a, you know, audiophile music nerd, if you're not, it's just a word to most people, I'm sure. It really doesn't
right.
matter. You know what I mean? It's
But
like,
that's one of my complaints with iTunes and stuff because
yeah.
you
The
know,
thing I like about it is like there's so much choice at your fingertips. Like it's incredible. You know what I mean? We're not getting paid shit for it, but
no.
you know
I do
that's
pay for that over Spotify though. I don't pay for Spotify, but I will. I do pay for iTunes
yeah,
because I like it's
I
better.
pay for iTunes too. It's the age old story. You know, it's never it's like I said, show business. There's two words. It's like a freaking business. Of course it is. You know, and the writers are like the last on the list. Just read any Beatles book or John
Yeah,
Fogerty,
no,
you know. Holy corruption.
and it's good, but I mean, and you guys don't complain about like, but there's people like me that like to say, hey, shout out to the guys that are doing the music. You know, still waving the flag for you guys because we appreciate and see the
That's
credit where
great.
credit's due. It's not going to change anything. I get it. It's not going to change anything. But if five more people care the point we're making, no matter how many people listen to it, if five people go, oh yeah, that is a point. That does make sense. I want to know who wrote that and give them credit. That's all. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. I
credit where
agree.
credit's due for a band.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What's the year looking like for you guys? Doing any playing out for touring or anything? I know this
We
year is kind of
We've done a few dates this year. We've been in the States, Chicago, Detroit, where the hell else? A whole bunch of stuff, and some stuff in Canada. We just did a festival out in Saskatoon, no, Manitoba. We're doing two shows in Ontario, in one in October 13th in London, Ontario, which is a big place for us. We've been since we were kids. And another show in our hometown, supposed hometown, this is where Daryl grew up, in in Oshawa, and that's basically where the band, like where we started first rehearsing and everything, and where we played our very first gig. So that's on, I don't know, November.
The link for the website will be underneath the show on the YouTube
And
and on podcast. Yeah, I'm sure that, and then the dates are on will be on the website for that too if people want to
yeah, and so we
check it
might
out.
we're gonna have some special stuff going on that night. I think with some original members, and I'm seeing like people are coming from the UK and everything for this, so it'll be a fun night. It's they're already selling really well, so we're happy about that. So we'll
People
be
from
there.
UK are coming to Canada in the wintertime. It
It's
better be a special
insane.
show.
Well, and you know you can bet your dollar that there'll be a blizzard that night. We usually have that.
Bring bring your sled dogs and your fur
That
coats
usually
or
happens
your
to
fake
us.
fur coats. I won't upset anybody.
Don't jinx it.
I know.
Bring on the global warming.
The spray cans of cheese cans there to destroy the environment.
Yeah, we
You
don't
know,
we don't have the spray cheese cans in Canada. We never
that was
got.
remember that was a joke back then. You know, I don't care if it destroys the environment. I want to be able to spray my cheese on my crackers. You know, and
Yeah,
now
I remember. I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, so
oh,
I remember all that. And plus, we've toured in the States since 1801 or something like that. So,
well, if you want heat, you can go back to you can hang out in Florida because they're pretty much on fire most of the time now. You know,
well, especially in August.
yeah, you know,
Jesus.
and if you look at the weather, I mean, it was like Florida and part of California in a couple of years, it's going to start going down. I mean,
Oh yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. But
I'm just glad I live in
I
New England.
probably won't be here to see it. I think did we just play the whiskey? I can't remember. I think we played the whiskey last year. We love California. We did a
Yeah,
lot of we did a couple records there with the great and powerful Andy Johns, who has
so good.
he's been gone for 10 years, which sucks. And he ended up being one of my best buddies, and we pretty much talked every day since
Wow.
I knew him, and gone too soon, definitely. And like it was an education money can't buy, but you sure did pay for. But
No,
we learned so much from him, and we had, we did originally we did Dirty Weapons with him. That was the first record, so we didn't really know him, but over 6 months we got to know him very well.
that's pretty special to keep a relationship that long. Because I mean, you think how many people come through his doors and how
Yeah,
talented. I mean,
I
you
just had
know,
a him and I just clicked, you know, when we originally we were originally doing Dirty Weapons. We had stopped touring. I think we finished, like we went to the UK with Maiden and did the Seventh Sun tour, and then we started pre-production in '89 for a couple of months to do Dirty Weapons, and we were looking around for a producer, and we didn't really know who he was, but we liked the sound. I can't remember what Cinderella album it was, one of them or whatever. But Epic didn't like him because he's a psycho. He didn't like record company people. He
right.
did his own thing, which is great. And so we booked a bunch of gigs. We booked like 3 or 4 gigs for him to come and see us, and he missed every gig. So this is Andy to a T. And then finally we got him up to one gig, and he and we were just doing these gigs so he could come and see the band and see if he wanted to work with the band.
Really?
And he came up, and he walks in, and he's like 6'4", 230 pounds, with a Dodgers jacket on and a cowboy hat and orange glasses. He's like a menacing character.
He was larger than life whenever
He was
I've
larger
seen.
than life, and he is a super character, right? Like if you look at his history, like we didn't really know his history because there was no internet back then. So, you'd have to really dig to see who
Yeah.
he was and who his brother was. And if you just look his look Andy Johns up and
Yeah.
see his musical pedigree is just like fucking insane. Him and his brother Glenn.
Yep.
Andy, so he comes in and he's like, "Yeah, I want to put B3 on your record." And I said, "Fuck you! You ain't putting fucking B3 on any record." And we did the show, and well, we were walking out. I was walking out of the gig with him, and he said, "What do you want to do with your life?" I said, "I'd like to buy my mama a house." He was like, I hate your fucking band, but you're really funny. Let's do it." So that's how it started. Right?
That is
That,
awesome.
yeah, that's how the whole thing started with him. But he was a real character, but he was absolutely a genius, like hands down. And at that point, we knew what we were doing, but I think we needed that kind of.
How was he with you in the studio, especially your first album? Because I've either heard hit or miss stories with him. You know,
Well,
his
yeah,
work stands for its own, but the people that have worked with him are like, I thought I was getting this and I got this, or I thought I was getting this and I got something even better. Like, what was your
yeah.
experience?
He just let us go because I think he knew that we knew what we wanted. He just made it better. He just brought it out of us. He wasn't the kind of guy that like forced us to do things and everything. I think we did like 2 weeks pre-production with him, and it was basically just tempos and endings or whatever. And then he was the 80s thing, so he was like, "Oh, just write me one more song, write me a ballad." So we went back to the apartment, and Mike and I wrote "Doesn't Matter" in like 20 minutes. So, but it was, yeah, we did 2 records with him, but it was an amazing experience. And he gave you the confidence and everything. You know what I mean?
He
It's
gave
like,
you it, not everyone. Sometimes people go like, he never came to the studio. Like, what I'm saying? You've heard those stories where it's like
well, he was there.
he was his own person. So like the fact that you got
Yeah,
that, you got
there's
the best of him.
horror stories of him for sure. And I've seen him in action, but he had an intimidating personality if you didn't know him, but he
Right.
was like a big
But I like
soft.
hearing the good stories. I like hearing the good stories of people like this because you don't get to hear as many people saying the good experience I got with him of why he was such a legend of a producer because this is who
Just
he is.
proofs in the pudding, like but he was a real softy inside, but he was leery of the business side of it, and he was just he was a true rock and roller. Like this guy was like the real fucking deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anybody that got along with him will tell you, like he was, it was an incredible experience. Like we were hillbillies from Canada and we ended up doing 2 records with Andy Johns. Are you fucking kidding me? Like it's like
Did you walk away with more knowledge that you carried with you still to this day when you produce for your sound? Did you learn some techniques like that guy had some great sounds? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when you go in and you're like, oh, that's how I get a sound that I like. I mean, as a young band,
it's hard.
a
Like
lot.
I think when you're doing a record, it's like a blank canvas. So, you have the structure and the arrangements and everything. And when you're especially in a rock situation, like a hard rock band like we are, you're just painting. So it's evolving. Like and like Dirty Weapons and Method to the Madness, we did those records over 6 months. They took 6 months to do. So it was just adding and taking away.
Well,
And
to that point, I mean, like, because you clearly, I mean, you're was over the years in the interviews and stuff, you're a very smart guy. So I get the feeling that when people go in and record, some guys would be like the guitarist, like, I just went in and laid out my tracks and left. And then some of the guys were like, I sat next to the engineer or the producer the entire time and I watched what they did and I learned. That's
yeah,
kind of the question. Like, did you
well,
kind of like,
you cannot help but like be it's just going to rub off on you of what happens. But it was a crazy, crazy time because, like, just say for instance, so everybody's we track all the drums, we track the
right,
bass, start and track some guitars and stuff, and then it comes time for me to sing. And so I'm out in the studio I think like doesn't matter, for instance. So everybody's in the control room, the whole band and the engineers and
yeah,
everything. And I'm you have to be in a certain headspace, right? and everybody's like chirping in, like, going, do this, do this, do this, do this, do that, do that. Like, and I get it. Everyone wants it to be good. And finally, he just said, everyone get the fuck out. And he kicked everybody out of the fucking studio. And then he took me outside and he said, Rizzle. He called me Rizzle. Well, the fucking shit. He's blowing smoke up my ass too. He's fucking done, Jagger, fucking plan. Yo, the shit. He just give you it, but to give you the confidence and everything, you know what I mean? Like, I lack a lot of confidence personally, because I just want to do the best job I can do, and I want it to be the best. And you're completely saturated and focused on this, this moment, right?
I imagine it was super intimidating because I went to school for recordings. I don't try to people to watch the show or listen to it. So to me, go on through sessions and with people and seeing how it goes. It can be super intimidating, even if you don't have a super producer. Just the first time in a studio is nerve wracking to people. Like it's like you for great performers just crumble. So to
Yeah.
me, that's why I'm asking you, like, to be with somebody like Andy Johns, who's already intimidating just to hang out with,
We weren't
then
scared.
being in a studio, then learning from him. I mean, obviously, if you were to face neck to neck with him, you know, if you things were picked up from him too, to in that advantage situation, because
Maybe
he
just
has somebody.
a few things or whatever, but like, I'm really lazy. I will, like, I'm gonna sing it twice.
Yeah.
Uh, After that, I just don't want to. You overthink it, right? Like,
Mhm.
I try to get it on one take or two takes, basically. Obviously, you could edit and cut shit and
Right.
everything, but he is, one thing he did teach us was, like, you can, just do a good take. Like, keep a whole take. Try not to cut the shit out of stuff and
Hmm.
edit shit. Let's just do a powerful rendition of it once, and not a billion times. You know what I mean? You can overdo everything, right?
That was
To
the
me,
problem back then.
I'm really fucking lazy. So it's like, because I was like, for background vocals, I'm like, fly them in. And then he's like, no, you're gonna sing them all. So we'd be
All the
there
gang
for,
vocals, all the different layers.
yeah, we would sing every single bloody one of them. You know what I mean? And in those days, it'd be like some 2-inch tape. So we had 48 tracks or something. This is the beginning of digital shit. It
Yep.
wasn't. It was like more of like flying faders and that junk, which drove him insane when that came. All that flying fader shit and stuff. He would stomp out of there because the
Really.
computer would go down, and he'd like fucking have. We'd be writing a tune all day on this fucking flying faders thing. It was so new.
Yeah.
It was gonna crash, and he would just go, "Fuck, get Tron in you." He'd fucking leave. Like, I'm out of here. It's okay. And we would do that, just like say I'm singing, so I'll come in at 12 o'clock and we start to sing. I sing for 15 minutes. I didn't feel like it just wasn't happening, so we just go to the bar.
That sounds expensive.
It's very expensive. Dirty Weapons cost a $500,000 to make.
No way. Holy moly.
Six
And it's a
months,
good
and
album. It's a good album. It's hard to judge money against an album, though.
at that
Especially
point,
with
it's like let's spend all the fucking money, right? Like, we had a major deal. We had like a huge deal with Epic for 3 albums, and I'm like, this may never happen again. So we're gonna do the best. I want the best of everything. I want
I
it to
love
be
that attitude. I love that attitude.
done right. Who gives a fuck? Like, that's what we're here for, right? Let's just fucking blow all the fucking money. You know what I mean? We would go, like, I can remember him and I. We'd be in there, and we got on like these. We were on a huge Beach Boys kick at one point, right? So we'd sit there and play Beach Boys. We went out for lunch and we saw a record store. So we went and bought every Beach Boys record, and we ordered a turntable and speakers, and we just set them up, and we just played fucking Beach Boys for a couple days straight. Anyway,
That's a good.
it's
That's a good story.
just loving the music and everything, right? Just like, he loved music. Like, forget it. He just
Yeah,
loved it. And he would try to convince me of stuff. Like, it wasn't like he was trying to shove his opinion down your throat. Like, you could say you hated it, you hated it. You know what I mean? But
well,
he opened my eyes to, like, I wish he was alive, because, like, uh, just all the stuff, that I read about and everything. I would just like to
Mhm.
call him. So what happened? What really
Yeah.
happened? The situation and everything, because he was there. But he didn't go on about shit like Zeppelin and stuff. He would actually get pissed off if people asked him about shit like that.
Well, I can imagine it's old after a while too, though. But there's a
Pardon?
balance of also having a legacy of it. You know what I mean? That's kind of when you hear a story, they're good stories, and even musicians like to hear other musicians' stories.
Well,
You
he
know.
brought like Nicky Hopkins played on our record. Like, I don't know if you know who Nicky Hopkins is, but he's like the biggest session piano player that ever lived.
Yeah.
Right. He did, all the Stones, and he played on every Beatles. Not He never played with the Beatles, but he played on all their
Right.
songs up after the fact, and all the Stones, like "She's a Rainbow" and all that shit. And I was a film crazy person from like day one. That was the first thing I ever bought was a camera. So I filmed. I have hours and hours of footage of these people, and like him and Nikki getting back to seeing each other after not seeing each other for a couple of years, and I have all this on film, and it's just it's heartwarming. They're both
Uh,
gone now, so it's
would you
kind of,
would you ever put it out something and somehow would you ever?
well, we've been,
I
like
can see it
every.
be personal, but also, I mean, it's kind of musically historical too. Like it's,
Yep. Well,
I can
everybody's
see
so
both sides.
we've had a couple of people want to do some kind of documentary or whatever. We're thinking about it, but does anybody give a shit? But I do have a lot of cool footage, so it would be cool for everybody to see it.
Well, that's the thing. Does it? Are you? It's not about music's not about money so much. You play out for money if you're going to make money in music. But just like doing an album, I mean, the profits and you know what I'm saying? You do a
Yep.
good album because you want to do a good album. So if
Mhm.
you want to put the music, so if you want to show the picture, the film, video, whatever you want, digital, whatever it is, you do it
Yep.
because you want to share
Well,
that. I mean,
I'd like people to see it because it's funny.
like I
Like,
love the idea of hearing these great positive Andy John stories now that he's gone because the world gets kind of everything is kind of muddy after a while. You know what I mean? You
yeah.
don't hear
He had a
positive things
reputation of
anymore.
being a crazy
Yeah,
motherfucker,
I get that,
right?
but it's good to hear good stuff too.
And he was fucking crazy.
Right.
Like I spent a lot of time with him besides just doing
Yeah.
records with him. Him and I would go on road trips and all sorts of crazy shit because we had the same common interest. We love history and we love the military and all this stuff. And I think he basically wanted to be a cowboy.
His
That
dream.
was that was his thing. And he's like a cross between, like one of his best friends was Bobby Keys and Keith Richards. So he was a cross. If you put if those two guys had a kid, it would be Andy.
That's a good one.
He didn't give a shit either. He just lived life. You know what I mean? But he was a funny motherfucker.
Yeah.
I've got uh, I've got a bunch of like phone messages that he's always left me that are classic. So maybe someday we'll have something out. Actually talking to a director right now that wants to do something with us. So we'll see if it materializes.
Even if you can't find somebody else, you do it yourself and you put it out on your
Yeah.
own or on the website and like more of a fan thing. Just because you love Andy or you love what you did with him and you want to put it out there with
Well,
your terms.
hopefully somebody writes a book about him. Like
Yeah.
he started writing a book when I was with him, and it was pretty funny because he'd be in the bathtub. He's Rizzo, I'm writing my book, and he'd have his book in the bathtub, and first the pages would go in the bathtub, and it would be all dripping. And
Blurry. Yeah.
what the fuck are you doing? Right? He was funny like that. I can remember like being in a pool with him. He had a pool at his house, and we were just hanging out in the pool, and the courier guy came with. I'm not going to say the band, but it was a famous band that wanted
Right.
to him to record them, and the courier guy. We were both in the pool, and the courier guy comes back there and hands Andy the tapes. There were cassettes in those days or whatever,
Yeah.
and he put them. He just brought them right in the pool, like just we were in the water in 5 seconds.
Oh. Oh.
He was Doctor Destruction.
Oh.
He bought me a couple of guitars, and I would never lend them to him because he was just racked them. But he was good like that. he would sit in his barber chair in his back, he called it the bunker, and he would break CDs and fun guy.
That's pretty awesome.
I'm not
That
going
is
to tell
really
the bad.
cool. No, I don't. I don't
There's some
want you
good.
to.
It was they were never bad to me, but I saw some shit happen that was pretty fucking funny.
Pretty bad.
But it
I
was
like the.
rock and roll, complete rock and roll.
Wouldn't happen
Like I,
nowadays.
pardon me.
Wouldn't happen nowadays though. Not the same.
Probably not. No,
You wouldn't get away with it as long.
that ship has sailed. I guess. I don't know. I guess there's a lot of crazy entertainers and
No, but
shit out
music back then like really nurtured that behavior. It really allowed you to expand upon it, who
there. I
you
think.
were.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a star making machine or whatever. I guess. I don't know. I've always been an observer. I don't feel like a rock star, but I love watching it. I like the minutia of everything and all the details and the little things. I like
That's
watching. I'm a
that's the
voyeur.
best thing. Well, the stories are the best part, and I've been lucky enough to hear a lot of good stories. I thank you for sharing some of these stories because I've never really
No
ever
problem.
experienced any of these. And I think it really to me it's really special. And I hope other people hear it. And I
Oh,
think that's
did
one of
you?
the best things about doing this. I mean, that's this show's not about I never make money. This show's not about me. It's really about taking the
Love music.
band. I do. This is all a love of music and promoting it to people. And the show's gotten big enough where
It's
other people
great.
seeing it and it gets press. And I can say I like this band. I have no agenda. I get nothing out of it except for saying, "Hey, have you seen this band? Hey, have you
Yeah.
seen this band?
Yeah.
And
Well,
have you
it's
heard
just
this
like when
story?"
we, yeah,
And
it's
that's
the same
pure.
thing. Like when we play shows, we're not like, we're trying to make it.
Yeah.
We're having fun. We're bringing entertainment to our fans. That's our goal.
Will you
And
be coming hopefully at some point towards my part of town there, East
I
Coast?
hope we do the East Coast. We did the East Coast last year. Like it all depends on, it's a different game. It's a
Wasn't
different.
going out a lot until recently, the past year or two. So I've been kind of sketchy about going out still.
Well,
That's why I
hopefully,
probably didn't
yeah,
catch.
I think we've been in Delaware and Long Island last year and Pittsburgh. I think we were
Some
in.
people skip over my area, hit either Boston and or New York because I'm right in the middle.
Yeah, I get it. We did play. We played all those places in the olden
Only
days.
always well, it's economics. I tell people. I mean, my broken record story is like my Eddie Trunk does the Hall of Fame. I do the if you love a band and they're in your area, you need to see them. You cannot say I missed you. I'll see them next time. We've learned there is no next time. It costs bands. Sometimes they're in the red. I mean, you
Yes.
guys come over. You guys are paying to get into America, which
Yeah.
America's the only country complaining about everyone elsewhere. But get in, and then you're bringing. Then if you're bringing your merch in, and then you're playing at the gigs, and you get almost like double or triple tax by the time you're done. And now the places are trying to get part of it too.
Oh
So the
yeah.
band's money is so small to
Yep.
begin with.
Hmm. It's true.
Um,
Support
if
live
there's
music.
if support live music, that well, that's the thing was about support live music or go to websites during COVID. That was the other thing. And now everyone's playing out support live music. And if your artist is doing an album, check it out, support it. You should
Mhm.
support your artist. I mean, even if you don't like it, try it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Put the money towards the artist. If you don't like the album, I
Yeah.
support artists.
If you love music, definitely, definitely
At this
support.
point, you're not make the band is not getting on their jet with caviar. What you're
No.
doing is you're helping paying for the band's longevity. Just keep doing it because everybody
Yeah.
should make enough money to survive.
Yep. For sure.
You know,
Well, it's like you said, the costs are astronomical, even for like a level where the level we're at, right? I can't imagine being a young band
I don't see how they do it. I can't.
and
That's my
going out.
concern.
You're probably not making any money. You know what I mean? Like we have to make money, or we can't go out. It's
Well,
just
there's no
real.
sense. Well, there's no sense to making. They did not make any money anyhow. It's just kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane. Um, I want to thank you, man. This has been great. I mean, I've done your
Most
music for a
welcome.
long time, and I wanted to share it and hopefully turn some more people on you guys. And check you guys out.
Appreciate it. And if we're in your hood, come on out. Come on
I
out.
will
Say hi.
definitely do it, and I will if I will.
And
I'll chat you up, and
I'll tell you some good stories
I'd love that.
that we won't
I'd
tell
love
on
that.
that we won't
And I
tell
may
on.
have some stories. I've heard a few stories off the air too that I'd never share. I'm a good secret keeper, so I
Okay,
may have some
good.
ones to swap with you.
All
So
right. Okay.
we'll tell some tales and have some drinks. That would be
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Thank you, man. I want to thank you. It's been really awesome. People check out the links at the websites there. Check out the other older albums. Check out the newest live album. I'm excited for you to do a new album. It just as a fan that likes new music, of course, I
Hmm.
understand the struggle.
Yep,
But
it'll
awesome,
be
man.
coming.
All right. Thank you. You have a good day.
Well, Sean.
Okay.